Welcome to Skills for Startups, the podcast dedicated to helping founders master essential skills to be successful. I'm your host, Avery Del Grosso. Presenting yourself and your business online has become an essential skill set for startups today. It's easy enough to put something out there, but creating and maintaining a high-quality website, social media presence, blog posts, etc., can quickly get expensive and time-consuming. This can be a huge detractor and a headache for some, especially when you're focused on creating early value for your startup business. This episode will inform you on the background, strategies, and resources you need so that you can create an effective digital presence for your business. Joining me today is Liz Masoner, a senior staff writer for Forbes Advisor. She specializes in writing about topics of web design, hosting, e-commerce, and SEO for small and medium-sized businesses. Hi, Liz. Thanks for joining me today.
Thanks for having me. Glad to be here.
Why don't you start by telling us a little bit more about what you do?
Sure, I am a senior writer with Forbes Advisor. I cover SMB topics, primarily the internet, web design, hosting, e-commerce. I work to help make sure that small businesses kind of level the playing field and have a chance at competing with the big boys by using the internet tools that are out there. I like helping bridge that gap between they know how to run their business, but they don't understand the technology side of the internet. So if I can give them that little bit of information that makes it easier for them to get that side handled, I love it. I love teaching.
That's a great transition into the core topic today, which is what exactly is a business's digital presence?
Well, the scary part of it is a lot of what goes into your digital presence isn't under your control. It's everything online, whether that's something that you post, whether it's something your employees post, whether it's something in a digital newspaper or just on a search engine. And the issue with the internet is that even parts that aren't social media today have a way for the visitors to chime in and comment. And most of these properties don't do any moderation. So some wild claims can live out there forever. So you really have to work hard to make sure your part of it is as buttoned up as it can be to prevent some wild claims from looking credible.
That's interesting that a business's digital presence includes all of the employees.
Well, when you're first starting up, you're probably going to have them connect their LinkedIn profiles and things like that with the company. But, tell your employees, it's like, look, if you put the company on your profile, you've got to be careful what you're saying publicly. That's why you'll see a lot of times people will have little disclaimers on their LinkedIn profile. All comments are my thoughts. They're not reflective of my company, that sort of thing. And it's a difficult line to walk, and everybody struggles with it.
What might be some of the benefits of a really robust digital presence that's well managed?
Well, a digital presence is how we announce our existence now. Yellow pages are gone, trade journals are shrinking. It's how you get the word out. So everything from your fundraising to your hiring to advertising your product runs through a digital web now. Even if you're a site-built company, people are looking up where you are, how to contact you, what your prices are online. So you've got to have that presence. And the reason it's important to have a plan for that and to have properties that you control, such as your website versus just social media, is because if you rely just on a third-party website, it can disappear at any time. You don't control that. By having your presence well curated, you are getting ahead of the few naysayers out there. You're building brand authority. You're projecting trustworthiness. And you are slowly but surely building customer trust.
Those sound like some very important benefits. Are there any disadvantages of poorly executed digital strategy?
Sure. If you don't have a cohesive strategy, several things can happen. One, if you've got a gap in where your presence is, say you have a website, but you have no social media, it leaves a vacuum for somebody to impersonate you. We've all seen the spoof accounts for celebrities and for some companies, and they'll have, this is a fake account, this is a comedy account, but a lot of people don't realize that. They don't pay attention. And then also it cuts down on your trustworthiness. Say if you do have your properties everywhere, your business profile on Google, you have a website, you have social media, but your hours are listed differently on every one, or there's broken links on one. If everything is fractured, then you lose customer trust. And it's very hard to get back the customer trust once you've lost it. And it also sends poor signals to the search engines too. When you have contradicting information, they don't know what to pull from.
What would be the best time to start getting a good strategy and start executing on it?
When you're thinking of your original business idea, as soon as you start having a name in your head, you need to be looking to see about that name availability, not just from a business license standpoint, but from a domain name and from usernames for all the major social media platforms. You don't want to be on every social media platform, but you need to hold your name on every one of them. So before you take any digital steps, you're looking for name availability and crafting kind of a uniform process across the different platforms so the names are similar. And it's easy for people to find you no matter what property you're on. So it's a process. As you're building your company plan, you're already thinking about your digital profile. But then once you're ready to launch your business, doesn't mean that you should throw a website up with a free website builder and a subdomain, because you're going to have to replace it almost immediately. And while a subdomain is great for a school project or a community club, it's not great for a business because it doesn't signal a lot of trust, and because, again, you don't control it. And domains really aren't that expensive for the most part. I mean, $10 to $50 a year is what most of them run. So when you're ready to launch, the first thing I always suggest is get your business profile on Bing and Google. Because if you're site-based, you send off, you get a little postcard back in the mail to verify that you're a real place. It helps you skip the SEO line. So before you have any kind of domain authority to rank well in searches, you can pop up on that little map if somebody searches for your company in a specific area. Then you're going to start crafting your social media profiles for the social media that matches your target audience. Don't automatically jump on TikTok just because it sounds like there's a whole lot of people there. Look for where your target audience is and focus on 2 or 3 social media platforms that have that. And make sure you fill out everything that's available on those profiles. Don't just leave it partially blank. And then for your website, you need to decide what kind of website you need. Is it a digital business card equivalent? Is it an e-commerce shop? You have to know what you want to put up before you pick the platform that you're going to build on. Whether that's WordPress or a website builder, you need to know what capabilities you're looking for before you can pick.
Do you have an example of some tools that are better for different types of businesses?
Sure. For e-commerce, there's 2 main ways you can approach it. Well, 3. You can take a content management system like WordPress that adds e-commerce capability by adding plugins such as WooCommerce. You can go with a generalist website builder like Wix or Symvoli, one of those that has some e-commerce capability, but it's going to be more limited. Or you can go with an e-commerce platform that is basically a website builder designed purely for e-commerce and has hosting built in. Those are going to be like your Shopify, Big Cartel, or Squarespace. There's pluses and minuses with all of them. CMS platforms, you can change hosts. Website builders, whether it be a generalist or e-commerce, you're stuck with that hosting. E-commerce platforms are going to have more integrations in general that are designed for e-commerce, such as integrations with your shipping, with your accounting, integrations with Amazon if you're going to use fulfillment by Amazon type stuff. So those are tools that can be used to build those websites. It's just a matter of which type of sites you want to build.
If I wasn't sure what tool might be a good fit for my business, how can I find help?
I have a really sneaky trick I like. Look at the website for your best competitors, the ones that you really want. These are the ones I want to be, or I want to be better than. And you use a tool called Built With. And it's just, that's the name of the website. Plug in your competitor's homepage, and it will tell you, for the most part, what technology built that website. So you can see if they're built on WordPress, if they're built on Shopify, if they're using Concrete CMS. Sometimes you can see their CDN or their host if they're using cloud hosting. So you can get ideas as to what your competition is doing with that real quick little search and get a head start on which direction to look in.
That's a great tip I'll even use. How might a digital presence strategy differ depending on either the business's maturity and size, as opposed to something that's early on?
Sure. Well, when you get handed something like that that's already been, the first thing I always say is see what's working and what isn't. On social media, where the problems usually come in is people have been throwing spaghetti against the wall, trying desperately to go viral. And it's like, no, go back to basics, stay on topic, and give your viewers something that is on topic and useful to them. Don't worry about going viral. Social media really is a matter of consistency and just keeping it going. Within a website, if there's no chance of changing the platform the website's on, again, you're looking for what's working and what isn't. Most of the time, it comes down to either it's slow, which you have to look at adjusting things like how many videos and animations you have if you can't change hosting, or the information is hidden, or it's not mobile optimized properly. Always answer the questions first. Who are you? What do you sell? What do you do? Where can you find us? How can you talk to us? How can you buy from us? All the rest of it is flash. But you start off answering those things. Always go back to basics, clean it up, and move from there. But it's like, don't overthink it. Don't throw the flash in first. You have to get the information on there first.
That's a great point. And going back to basics, I think, is a good way to ground yourself and make sure you're addressing the things that matter the most. So we kind of talked about how the digital presence might mature and change depending where your business is at. How does the digital presence need to evolve, either in the tools being used, in the expertise that's behind it?
Well, a lot of it is as your tech stack is growing, you're trying to make sure everything integrates together. And sometimes that means you have to change your website platform, because your website often is how your customers are turning in orders to you. Even if you're not e-commerce, you may be actually taking your orders through a password protected section of your website. That happens a lot of times with industrial companies. So hopefully, as you've added more people, you've added a tech team that understands how to handle more of the different hosting types, and somebody to work on your website, somebody to work on your social media. So you've added more expertise, but now you've also got to let them run with that to some degree. It's like you might have started out on shared hosting, which is cheap and it's easy, but it's not reliable in the long run, because your neighbors can basically take all your power from you. If they have a traffic spike, you lose speed. So you're going to want to move up to a more complex type of hosting. VPS, virtual private servers, are still shared in a way, but you get a guaranteed part of that computer's processing ability, and you get better security. Or you might move up to cloud hosting or a dedicated server. But for most companies, as you start to scale, a VPS is the next step up on hosting. Unfortunately, if you started out with a website builder, most website builders don't offer a VPS. You're going to have to move to another platform such as WordPress. The good news is, if you move to another CMS, Concrete, Joomla, WordPress, you can use just about any host out there. So you can shop for the one that has the absolute best tech and customer support and the best speed that fits within your budget.
When we talk about making a move to different platforms, What kind of time and resource does that take to port your services and your content over to another service? What does that look like?
It can be a super simple job or very complex. It just depends on what you had to start with. The good news is, like if you're e-commerce, a lot of the e-commerce platforms can connect with many of the CMSs. So there's a lot of back end that can be handled with plugins and integrations that make it simpler. You don't always have to completely rebuild your store, for example.
Thank goodness for that.
But even if you're rebuilding your website, you can sort of do it in stages for certain parts of it. Your main website is still live while you're building your new presence. And there are some parts of the old website you may be able to redirect traffic to. So you can do it in stages so you don't have to tear the entire house apart to reorganize one room, basically. You can do it in stages, and that makes it a lot more palatable. And there are companies out there that help you integrate all these different pieces of your tech stack that you've acquired over time. And by the time you're at this point in your company's journey, it's really a good time to be looking at an agency to help you out. There are some fabulous web design agencies out there that have deep experience in these technologies and can guide you through every step of the way. I will say like anything, there's also companies that aren't so great. Things I look for is companies that give you hosting choice. They don't automatically say, here, it's an all-inclusive package. We control everything. You don't even log in. You want to be somewhere where you have access to all of your accounts, because that's how you make sure you don't wind up with somebody closing the shutters and you're left with no access.
If someone wanted to get some advice on creating their digital presence, where can they go for help?
Well, self-serving segue, of course. I have plenty of articles, and so do my fellow SMB writers at Forbes Advisor on plenty of SMB topics and getting online. But I'd say also you can kind of educate yourself on the topics before you go look for help. LinkedIn Learning, Coursera, even YouTube. Get the basics in social media, the basics in SEO, the basics in website design. Even the just introductory articles are going to give you kind of a crash course into some terminology to know what you're looking at and what they're talking about when you go to talk to these agencies and companies about getting help, so that you're not just listening to technobabble, you actually know what they're saying they're going to do for you.
I think that's a really good piece of advice, and I think it would be helpful for a lot of founders to really know how all of it gets put together. I think that could be a great advantage.
Absolutely. It's the same way as owning a car. You don't have to know the intricacies of how the engine works, but knowing the difference in a 2-cylinder and a 4-cylinder is a good idea.
Thank you again for joining me today, Liz. Do you have any final thoughts or tips that you'd like to share with us?
Yeah, absolutely. I've enjoyed being here. I just say, remember, it doesn't have to be done immediately. Take your time, go slow, start with the basics and build out from there. Don't try to do everything at once. And when you're looking for a provider, take advantage of money back guarantees and free trials to test things out before you go all in. And don't fall for the flashy ads. Do your research. Talk to customer service before you sign up. See if they can answer simple questions, because you're going to be relying on technical support and customer service a lot when you first get started.
Absolutely. Those are great tips. Thank you again for your time and for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
If you'd like to learn more about how you can bolster your business's digital presence, Liz has many great articles published on Forbes Advisor and her blog. Just go to www.forbes.com/advisor/author/lmasoner, that's LMASONER, or go to lizmasoner.com. I'll leave those links in the description so you can check out her work and learn more for your startup. The Skills for Startups podcast is offering a free guide on customer discovery. Download yours today at skillsforstartupspodcast.com. Skills for Startups is part of the Prescription Podcasts family of podcasts. To listen to more interesting stories, including those that are shaping the future of our health, visit prescriptionpodcasts.com.